Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. He's Rogers, I'm Patrick, and the Netherton Show Coaches Caravan rolls on. Yesterday was Skip Holtz from Louisiana Tech. Tomorrow will be Broderick Fobbs of Grambling. Friday will be Brad Laird of Northwestern State. And today we welcome in the man who coached the Heisman Trophy winner of the FCS level, Cole Kelley, the Walter Payton Award winner from last year. He is Frank Scelfo of the Southeastern Louisiana Lions. Coach, how are you?
And I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. For those that don't know, Frank Scelfo, back in, I think it was 2005, devised one of the greatest pick plays in the history of college football to free up Mewelde Moore as Tulane defeated Northwestern State down in New Orleans in overtime. I have some fun with Frank, and actually Northwestern State's offensive coordinator was also on that coaching staff. They like to tell me that's what they call a rub route, but it was clearly a pick play, and I will not let them forget it. Coach, I'll never let you forget it as long as I live, so I'm just saying.
Well, it was obvious that the defender ran into the offensive player, and not the other way around.
Yeah.
So it did. Look, you should never try to cover Mewelde Moore with just one guy anyway,
Oh, that's
right?
true. No, look, the mistake is trying to cover Mewelde Moore with a linebacker to start with. Let's be honest.
That's right. That's
Hey,
exactly right.
Hey,
that was a heck of a game, man.
No,
really
it was
a great.
That was a fabulous game. Look, you've had kind of an interesting journey yourself. You've been up in the NFL. You kind of been around in various levels of college football. Now find yourself as the head coach at Southeastern Louisiana. Kind of tell me about the journey and sort of what you have learned along the way that has, paid dividends now. Obviously, we mentioned Cole Kelley last year winning the Walter Payton Award. But tell me about the journey and what the journey has, how it helped prepare you for this gig at Southeastern.
When you work for so many different people, you just grab ideas from each and every one of them. You learn from, just ways to do things, but also ways how not to do things. And I was able to do that at all different levels from so many different people. And I think I've been fortunate. I grew up in a coaching family. My dad was a high school coach in South Louisiana, so I probably got most of my background from him. But along the way, I worked for some really, great people, starting with Buddy Stevens over at Tulane, and learned a lot from him, and then Tommy Bowden right after that, and then my own brother, who we shared the same ideas at Tulane, and then had the opportunity to go up and work with Derek Dooley, obviously, Vince Dooley's son, and then headed out to Arizona with Mike Stoops, and, we know about that family, and then the NFL and all the characters and different things that we, ran into over there. So, just the journey, during that process, you just learn so many different things from, like I said, on both sides of the fence. And I just think it was, I wasn't sure if I ever wanted to be a head coach, but when the opportunity came up here at Southeastern, I jumped at it. And, it's been great for me ever since.
It's interesting you mentioned coaching families, and yours is one of them. I talked to Skip Holtz yesterday, obviously, the Holtz family. Terry Bowden now at ULM. Obviously, we know Coach Bowden and Terry and his brothers. You are kind of continuing the tradition. You mentioned your brother and the run y'all had at Tulane. And now your son's into it as well. Now, you stole him from Northwestern State in the offseason. We know that. He comes down to Hammond to coach with you. I've got to imagine, though, Frank, it has to be incredibly rewarding, not just to be able to coach, even when you're seeing him on the other side of the field as you had to do. There you go, reunited by Peaches and Herb. That's perfect. Rogers is always on top of things. All right, don't get me kicked off Facebook for Peaches and Herb now.
Y'all are drinking in the studio.
No, yeah, well, one of us is drinking in the studio, and it's him. It's definitely not me. But it's Coach, I've got to imagine it's pretty rewarding to watch your son grow up in the business, seeing him kind of develop. He went from UTSA to Northwestern State. Now he's with you. That's got to be really cool as a father to watch that.
Oh, it is. He got a late start in his profession. He played, 5 years of pro baseball, and then came back and got his degree from Tulane. He got drafted early, getting out of college, and got his degree, and then went to work in the financial world, making good money, and I don't know, made a mistake and jumped into this coaching profession.
Yeah.
But he's really good. He does such a good job, and that's the reason hiring him down here, it was a no-brainer for me because we had an opening on our offensive staff. And even though I think Greg Stevens does an unbelievable job as our coordinator, I think you always want to inject new ideas and new blood into what you're doing, whether to reaffirm what you're doing or even to question it and then grow, have some different ideas. And he's been able to come in and do that this summer. So, I think what professionally, personally, obviously, no-brainer, right? But professionally, it was too. And for him to be able to take over, and he knows Louisiana, he's our recruiting coordinator now, and so he'll be able to come in and won't miss a step. We'll be able to step right in and continue the process of us growing our program with players from Southeast Louisiana and beyond.
One of the other things that happened in this offseason, and look, we've got a lot of off-season things to touch on, but one of the things that happened positive for Southeastern is you went through a rebranding, kind of updated the logos a little bit, got a new some updated field, parts of your field and whatnot. Tell me about that. And did you have any role to play in that? I mean, is that something they run by you? Do they talk to you about that, or is it, hey, it looks great? You see it the same time everybody else does.
I saw it a little bit sooner, but they didn't ask for a lot of advice. I think if you they probably call my wife and ask her if I knew anything about decorating or designs, and I could care less about it. I just appreciate the fact that our president, Dr. John Crane, and athletic director JRT, went out and this is a tough time for to spend a bunch of money and for them to just step up and say, you know what, we're getting a new surface and we're going to put it in, and they figured out a way to do it. And again, the rebranding process is not a cheap investment either. That's a big investment that the university had to make, and they did that also. So that was two major financial projects that they undertook, on the heels of COVID that we just went through. And, for them to be able to do that, man, it was just, I don't know, for us, it really felt, it was a nice gesture. And, it just tells them where their heart is and where their head is as far as us growing this program.
Talking to Frank Scelfo, the head coach at Southeastern Louisiana. All right, before we get to the on-the-field product, let's talk about a couple of off-the-field things that I'm asking all of the coaches about. What have your conversations been like regarding COVID, the vaccine? We're seeing coaches come out. Mike Zimmer at the Vikings is frustrated with his guys and them not getting it. You're seeing Ken Niumatalolo came out today and said, hey, we're 100%. We're ready to go. What are your conversations like with these guys who are men and, have the opportunity to make adult choices for themselves? Tell me about kind of what you talk to your team about regarding COVID and the vaccine.
Yeah, I mean, we have open and honest conversations. That's what we do. And, I think the vaccines are very important to stopping this thing, but also understand that's a personal choice with some of these players. I'm not gonna browbeat them. We let them make educated choices, just like we let them do every day. It's not something that you force onto somebody, and we're not doing anything to entice them to do it. We present them with the options. They met with the CDC, the doctors here. We give them individual opportunities to talk to these doctors, and if they want to get those vaccines, man, get them. If they don't, they got to go through a testing process, and they understand what that process is. But those are decisions that they got to make. Would you like everybody to get it and COVID go away? Yeah, but look, the goalposts have been changed so many times. We're not sure what's going on, and so I don't. Is there a right answer or a wrong answer? I think the right or one answer is that the vaccine does lessen what the symptoms are, and what the causes that come from it. But is there light at the end of the tunnel because you took the vaccine? I don't think that's the case. I think the variants will continue to change. So, it's our players rely on, and we tell them, go talk to your doctor, talk to your parents, see who's comfortable with what, and we provide them with as much educational opportunities as we can for them to make the decision that they want to make, what they feel comfortable. Now, if it ends up coming back to, because of COVID, that we're going to lose guys during the course of the season, that's what it is. We won't be the only program to do it, so we'll just see where this thing goes. Nobody knows where it's going to go. I don't think people in Washington, D.C. need to make a decision for Hammond, America, and or anywhere else. We'll make our own decisions here, and we'll learn, and we'll live with it because decisions have consequences, and we'll learn to live with those.
The other big off-the-field thing that came up, obviously, is name, image, and likeness, and now players can profit off of who they are. You've got the Walter Payton Award winning quarterback, right? That's as big as it gets at the FCS level. But you're at the FCS level, and you're in kind of small town America, Hammond America, as y'all love to say. I'm curious, what kind of discussions do you have? I know the compliance department is a part of this, but kind of walk me through maybe, are you seeing opportunities for kids to get some NIL deals done, or are you not? I mean, what are you seeing at your level in a pretty small town?
No, we're seeing it. A lot of our guys are getting opportunities to do stuff, especially at the restaurants and things like that. And, it's about your followers is what I'm – and, of course, I don't know who's following me. Or I look around every night and I don't see anybody behind me. But, those guys get a lot of followers, man. They can make some – and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing. I'm all for these players doing everything that they can to make money. I don't want it to take away from their focus on the field, and it hasn't. So I'm all for it. I want it to take place, and they're getting some opportunities to get some free meals, to do some things, and get a little bit of exposure. And you know what I think it's really I think the coolest part about it, the entrepreneurship of our players, these 18 to 22-year-olds, being able to go out and kind of hustle their own deals and come up with some ideas and start a T-shirt company and do some other things like that. That's the part that kind of excites me a little bit, just seeing them do things that, we see them away from the football field and away from the classroom. So they're able to do those, and we're celebrating. We're having fun with it, and, when somebody comes up with something or gets something, then we all celebrate it as a team. And, so we're having a great time with it, and the city of Hammond is really supporting us. The surrounding areas supporting us, the businesses, things like that. They're doing things for our players that, maybe not possible in other towns or other communities.
Frank Scelfo, head coach of Southeastern Louisiana. All right, let's talk about the on-the-field product. Obviously, it starts with one of the largest men that walks out on the field, and that's Cole Kelley at 6'7", 260. He's a massive, massive human being. Won the Walter Payton Award. I love that our boy Kimler Chappell put out the preseason award list. Oh, yeah, so you're saying the guy that won the award last year that's coming back is on the preseason watch list. How surprising. But, look, this kid was remarkable last year in a shortened season. He put up some incredible numbers. Tell me about him, what he's meant since he got there from Arkansas, and then kind of what do you look for in terms of where do you go, how do you grow from a Walter Payton Award-winning season to now?
Yeah, I think you got to remember when you look at his journey when he got here, Chase and Berger was our starting quarterback and had a really great year. And Cole came in and just supplemented him and really, did a nice job of that. And then the team got to be his in the spring. He competed and won the job in the spring. And then going into the fall semester, COVID hit. So we don't have anything going on there. But that's when I saw the greatest growth in him was what he was doing off the field. We went through basically a 15-practice spring fall ball, you could say. And that's where I saw his leadership take over in the locker room and with the guys on the side, individual doing some stuff one-on-one with them and spending time with them. And then we played the fall schedule. He only played 7 games. So you're looking at a guy who's only played 7 games really in the last 2 years or 3 years when you count Arkansas. And so we saw him take a huge step between the fall and the spring. Now, he's got to take that next step this fall, and which I think he does. So when you say where can he go from here, I think everything, all arrows point up for him because of the lack of experience that he had going into the spring, what he was able to do in the spring, but then now his confidence levels are sky high, and it's warranted, but also because of his impact on our team. I think that our team recognizes him from a leadership standpoint, and because of that boosts his ego, obviously, but it also makes him he's a servant-type quarterback, which means when I say that, he helps others, and he gives credit to all the other guys. He gives credit to, receivers and running backs, O-line, tight ends, everything else. He doesn't take the credit. That's not his way. And our players see that, and they recognize that, and it's genuine. So I'm expecting a great thing out of him this fall. I expect him to get better. He's got better decision-making, a little more accuracy, quicker decision-making, maybe some more checks at the line of scrimmage, getting us in the right place. So I think there's a lot of growth that's able to take place for him. and I'm looking forward to seeing that happen this fall.
You were one of the teams that played the spring schedule. You mentioned the 7 games from February until April. As opposed to a regular spring where you're practicing against each other and then you have a spring game, do you feel like you got an advantage because you were facing other opponents during the spring and you had arguably, I guess, one of the more, I'm guessing, informative springs that you could have as opposed to what you normally would be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd do this every spring if you could, instead of practicing for 15 days against each other. Being able to go through a game plan and play a quality opponent like we did each and every week all through the spring, and keeping score. I mean, all of those things. I mean, just think about this: the amount of experience these kids gain without costing them a year of eligibility. I mean, it's just a huge. That was a huge, to me, huge advantage for us. We weren't able to go through fall, but we got in our 15 practices then. But so then we turned around and played the 7-game spring schedule. So within that year, even though we didn't play as many games, it didn't cost them a year of eligibility. So all these guys are coming back. You just think of a true freshman that just came in, and he goes through, jumps into August, and they're playing games. We're playing games. Well, he was able to go through the fall, get acclimated to school, go through fall ball and all of that, then come back in the spring, and then he's able to contribute. And this fall, guess what? He starts over as a freshman again. Well, that's invaluable experience that that kid's gained. So we've got a whole class of that, and I think that's happened at all the way down, from seniors all the way down to freshmen. That was able to happen, and we were able to retain all of our seniors. We were able to keep them all, and they all came back. So we're looking for that experience to be able to be passed along to the younger guys as we grow this program.
You've got a game at Louisiana Tech, second game of the year, September 11th. You got a game at Northwestern State in October. So there'll be some chances that folks around this area may come out and see a Southeastern Louisiana game. Cole Kelley, obviously, we mentioned, the Walter Payton Award winner. He's the name. But give us some of the other names that if the regular fan comes out, maybe they're a Louisiana Tech fan, maybe they're a Northwestern State fan, they come and watch your team. Give me some other names that they're going to see that are going to pop out.
Yeah, I think, obviously Cole is the guy, but, we got a 2-time All-American at corner in Philando Jordan. He'll be at one cornerback position. C.J. Turner, probably our top receiver, coming back, was named to the preseason All-American team this year. This fall, last week, I think it came out. Our offensive line, we got a veteran O-line that's coming back. The leading tackler in the conference, Alexis Ramos at linebacker. He'll be there. He'll be in for his senior year. And, so we've got some guys. We got some pieces in place for us that we feel like, most of our kids are from Louisiana. And because of that, a lot of the fans are going to be familiar with these guys. And our guys know a lot of the guys at Northwestern on that team, at Louisiana Tech on that team, Nicholls State, McNeese. So we know a lot of the players that played against each other or with each other in high school. And the fans will recognize some of the names as they go through our roster. They'll recognize a lot of the names in the hometowns of where these guys are from.
Last thing, the Southland obviously has gone under a bit of an upheaval. You had the teams leave for the WAC. You had Central Arkansas take off and head to the Atlantic Sun. So to play a full schedule, you've got a couple of teams that you're having to play home and home. You're playing twice this year. Tell me about that. This is going to be absolutely an unbelievably unique experience in football. How do you sort of prepare to face it, knowing you're going to face a team twice in a season?
Yeah, I did it in the NFL. So we played everybody in our division twice. They do it every year. So it's not going to be new for me, So I have an idea where there's a pathway that blueprint that all the teams in the NFL use, and we'll use that here. And you play a home and home, so you play each team in your division twice. The Saints hate the Falcons, but you got to go over there twice, right? And we do the same thing. We're gonna sit there and we have Northwestern, McNeese, and Nicholls State all twice.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to play home and home against those three teams to give us 6 games in the conference. Houston Baptist is at home, and then we go to UIW. So there's our 8-game conference schedule. And I don't know, do I want to do this every year? No, because I'd like to play more teams. But at the same time, I think this is a heck of a year, and it's going to be a great experience for the fans to see, just like you go on the road and you beat somebody at their place, and then you get the chance to bring them home. Well, their fans are going to be ticked off about it. I just see the rivalries, man. I'm looking for some packed stadiums and some interesting games when you play somebody twice in the same season. And sometimes, I know one year I think we played in Indianapolis within 2 or 3 weeks of each other when I was in Jacksonville. So it was kind of strange for me because it was the first time I had done it. But the guys in the staff room and the players, and you get acclimated to that, and you kind of get an idea of how to structure everything from a game plan standpoint: offense, defense, special teams. So we'll use some of that. We'll use that information and that experience that I gained from that to put us in a position to do those things. But I don't know. It's unique for college football, but the NFL does it every year in every division. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. There's no doubt about it. And like you said, it will juice up some rivalries and maybe create some rivalries that weren't there before, which I think will be very interesting. Coach, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. Tell Anthony we said hello, obviously. One of our favorites. Please, I don't know, tell him. I look at his hair and I'm mesmerized every time I see it. So I don't know, maybe tell him to wear a hat more often so he doesn't mesmerize everyone. But, brother, good luck to y'all.
There's something wrong with y'all. There really is. There's something wrong with y'all. Keep drinking that peaches and herb up there, whatever y'all are doing, man. That'll be great. Y'all keep doing that. Hey, we really appreciate you, though. We really do. The exposure that we get up in that part of the state is invaluable. And, we look forward to going up to Northwestern every year. I mean, that's a neat place to play. And so, can't wait to see y'all again, man.
Frank, enjoyed it, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Frank Scelfo, head coach of the Southeastern Louisiana Lions.